As the Patriots get ready to play the Packers, here's a look at how both teams handled their transitions from their star quarterbacks. The Patriots drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, then traded him. Brady left 3 seasons later. Patriots signed Cam Newton in 2020, then drafted Mac Jones in 2021, then gave him 2 defensive coaches to handle his second year. Relationship spiraled between him and Bill Belichick. We know how that went. Packers drafted Jordan Love in the first round in 2020. He was inactive for that year, then backed up Rodgers for 2 seasons before the Packers traded Rodgers to the Jets this offseason, and Love is now poised as their starter. We bring this up because this is a story that's, close to me. I'm a Packer fan from there. And, I sort of love how they went from Favre to Rodgers. I think that's really a unique sort of thing. I thought the team handled it really well, where Rodgers was drafted, spent a couple of years immersed in the organization, in the playbook, in the system. Favre finally aged out. They went right to the next guy who was ready to go. And I'm sort of, hoping they've done the exact same thing with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. And then you think about it, and I say to myself, well, you know what? Bill Belichick wanted the same thing, and he just couldn't get it done here in New England. So do you think the Patriots somehow missed their chance there with Brady Garoppolo?
I mean, no, because they won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. So the fact that, it didn't work out timing-wise because Tom Brady played well past the point that they thought they were going to turn things over to Jimmy Garoppolo. If they hadn't won a Super Bowl and things had fallen apart, say, 3 years before Brady left, then I guess you could look at it that way. But because they won a Super Bowl, no. I mean, the timing didn't work out, but they still won. They were still winning.
What do you think Bill Belichick would want? Okay? If you said, Bill, you have to give back one of those Super Bowls, because they wouldn't have won the last Super Bowl without Brady, obviously. Okay? You give back one of those Super Bowls, but you would have been able to go right from Brady to Garoppolo. How do you think they'd be right now? Do you think they'd be in better shape right this second? I
mean, from what we've seen from Jimmy Garoppolo, probably not. And I like Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think that there's still some promise there. But with all the injuries and everything else, there's a good chance he wasn't the guy. Just like, out in Green Bay, there's a chance that Jordan Love is not the guy. Like, you look at it, he had a great showing against Philadelphia last year when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. He comes in on that, I think it was a Sunday night game, played pretty well. And, if you're a Packer fan, you're hoping that Jordan Love kind of takes the reins the same way that Aaron Rodgers took the reins from Brett Favre. But you don't really know.
Well, you never know, Tom. So you never know. Here's Garoppolo, you're right to bring up the injuries and the durability. It's totally fair. There's no saying he would be any more durable here than he was in San Francisco. He certainly wasn't durable the one crack he had here. And he had a chance to come back and play earlier than he did, and even held out a week longer than the team wanted him to way back in 2016 or whatever year that was that he played that first month. So the health thing is for real. But I happen to believe that if Garoppolo stayed here, with Belichick, with Josh McDaniels, with the program that they had in place, he would have been better here than he was in San Francisco, and it would have worked. Now, what does that mean? Did they win a Super Bowl, get to a Super Bowl? I don't know. Maybe that's asking too much. But you wouldn't have had the train wreck you had with Cam Newton. You wouldn't have had the train wreck that you had last year. They'd be in better position right now. And this is another thing you need to know. That if Belichick was allowed to do that, he'd invest on the offensive side of the ball because he'd be invested in it. That's my guy. He loved Garoppolo, and he'd have a lot at stake there because he went with Garoppolo over Brady. So he would make sure he'd do everything in his power, spend every dime that he could bring himself to spend to build that side of the ball. And I think you'd be in much different shape on that side of the ball today had they made that transition. Not to say that they should have. How could you complain about keeping Brady and winning Super Bowls? It's just an interesting thing to look back at history, and this is where the Packers are today. So,
and again, I talk about the last Super Bowl with Tom Brady because I think that Tom Brady still wins those first 2, and then you're talking about the transition to Jimmy G, right? That would have been the timing of it.
Well, it's really the last one. It's the one against the Rams in 2018.
Exactly.
And 2017, 2018. Those 2. You went to the Super Bowl, lost the next one. Garoppolo's your quarterback right there. You're not having that same level of success. But again, 5 years later, where are you? And so that's what we're sort of talking about.
Let's set up now a conversation that we had at the beginning of the show. I don't know if I want to screw it up. Do you want to present it to Gasper as we talk about the quarterback and the transitions and compare the Green Bay Packers to the Patriots? And the Packers going from Favre to Rodgers.
Okay, well, let me ask it this way.
Okay.
Chris.
Yes.
Bill Belichick, in his heart of hearts.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd give up that last Super Bowl for the chance to have gone forward with Jimmy Garoppolo and still have him on the team right now?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think he would. Jimmy was his guy, and also Jimmy would have given him the ability to do something that's proven difficult for him now, which is to separate his legacy from Tom Brady. I think he really felt if he was able to get another quarterback in there. It doesn't have to be a Brady level guy, but like a Pro Bowl. Like, for example, if Kyle Shanahan went to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo, what if that were Bill going to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo? That would help Bill's, and not that Bill's legacy needs help, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it does. It does. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame, but this whole thing that hangs over his head, if you've done nothing without Brady,
it would be gone.
It'd be gone. Yes. And I think he would sacrifice the Super Bowl for that. 5 versus 6, he cares about 347, which is the Shula record anyway, okay? And I still think Garoppolo would be winning you regular season games here. He would answer the Brady thing. I absolutely think he'd give up one of those Super Bowls to have gone with Garoppolo and still have him on the team.
But one thing that you're not addressing here is that, okay, so you're not winning the Super Bowl because Tom Brady's not here, but Tom Brady's somewhere else. He won a Super Bowl the first year he was in Tampa Bay.
No, it's a fair point.
So what if Tom Brady ended up winning 3 Super Bowls after they had moved on from him? If they moved on from him a couple years earlier.
It would still hurt. I still think Bill would risk it because at the time Bill would think he's not going to win anything, just like he thought when he went to Tampa. Is there any legit second guess, right? You can't, they hung on to Brady. They should have. They were proven right on that. They had to trade Garoppolo eventually. So, that had to happen because Brady outlived what Belichick thought his shelf life would be.
Yes.
What's the legit second guess? When you go back into history, what was it?
For me, the legit second guess is it's Bill not change after the Garoppolo thing was gone and it wasn't an option for him. It's not changing the way that he approached Brady. At that point, you have to be all in on Tom Brady. And I think it made no sense for them to choose Brady over Garoppolo and then sort of mess around with Brady's contracts and nickel and dime him, and Bill to still be like, well, I don't really need this guy at the end. That was a mistake. And I also think that's not just Bill's mistake. I would put ownership in that. Like, you put your thumb on the scale for one guy, and then a couple of years later, you just let the other guy say, okay, he's going to leave. He's out of here. I think that was a huge mistake. In for a penny, in for a pound.
How about Jordan Love? What do you think of him? Do you think the Packers have done the right thing here? What do you expect?
That's the most intriguing thing to me about these joint practices. I want to see Jordan Love. What does he do against a Bill Belichick defense and what I think is a very good Patriots defense? I'm going to pump the brakes on elite and dominant and that stuff, but they're very good. And we've seen good quarterbacks. Josh Allen early in his career, Justin Herbert. Poor C.J. Stroud last week. Just be completely bamboozled and baffled by Belichick. And I want to see how Jordan Love responds because I think he has a lot of talent, and I think the Packers might have something here. But I think you'll have an idea of exactly what they have based on these joint practices.